by indicating that I'm accompanied here by some of managers in the DPCI. I have got Lieutenant General Musipi, who is the Divisional Commissioner in the DPCI. I have got provincial heads of the DPCI in Mpumalanga, Major General Mukwena. I have got the provincial head of the DPCI in Limpopo, Major General Josie. I have got the provincial head of KwaZulu-Natal, Dr. Senona. I have got the provincial head of Western Cape, Major General Makato. I have got the acting component head of Priority Crime Specialized Investigation, Brigadier Van Veek. Let me also indicate that a new Deputy National Head of the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation has been appointed with effect from the 1st of November this year. That is Lieutenant General Nkosi. Lieutenant General Nkosi and 7 other senior managers, together with 244 officials ranging from the lowest level up to middle management, have been appointed recently. This is a move to try to continuously fully capacitate the directorate, or the Hawks as is commonly known. General Nkosi has been in the serious commercial crime environment. He have got experience of investigation of fraud cases as well as commercial crime. In addition to several certificates that he is having behind his name, he have got a diploma in police administration. He have got 2 honors degrees, that is a Bachelor of Technology in Policing, as well as a Bachelor of Laws. He is currently studying towards his master's degree in philosophy. Preceding his appointment was the appointments of the component heads of which is Major General Suraj Badi Executive Support Services, the provincial commanders of the Priority Crime Specialized Investigation in Mpumalanga in Western Cape, that is Brigadier Davenport and Brigadier Berg, the provincial commander of Corporate Support Service in the Eastern Cape, Brigadier Hastings, and the section head of Financial Investigations, Brigadier Kalaba. There is also the appointment of the Provincial Commander of Serious Organized Crime Investigation in the Northern Cape, Brigadier Mojela, as well as the appointment of the Section Head of Human Resource Management at Head Office, Brigadier Munyela. These are some of the new appointments that we have just recently announced. The DPCI shall be appointing 5 senior managers by the 1st of December this year. And further 3 senior managers will be appointed on the 1st of January 2023. Should additional 10 designate appointees successfully negotiate their top secret security clearance certificate, we will also announce their appointment immediately. It is encouraging to report that the DPCI has grown to 52% from the last time that we have reported that we are operating below 50%. The process of capacitating the DPCI is continuing, and as we speak, we are busy selecting candidates to fill 290 posts. Today marks the second public update of the successes achieved by the DPCI. From the outset, may I indicate that the DPCI has arrested at least 827 suspects that were successfully secured before the various courts in the country during the second quarter of this year. During the same period, 217 accused persons were found guilty and sentenced, which earned them a title of being a criminal. The majority of arrests emanate from serious organized crime investigation, with a total of 524 arrests. The serious commercial crime investigation component is following with 206 arrests, while serious corruption investigation secured a total of 97 arrests, which makes up to that 827 of the arrest on national priority offenses. It is encouraging to see that the work continues. In this brief, I shall only highlight 50 cases which represent 5% of the successes that I have indicated. Fraud cases which are investigated by the Hawks Serious Commercial Crime teams recorded the highest number of arrests in all commodities. They secured 222 arrests across the provinces. The serious commercial crime are following, and then the precious metals and diamonds, which include illegal mining, have arrested 126 suspects. The non-ferrous metals cases are following with 97 arrests. This involves things such as the copper cables. We are also talking about railway lines, as well as other essential infrastructure that aids the economic activities in the country. When it comes to the convictions, the majority of the convictions are also coming from the serious organized crime, which is 128 convictions. The serious commercial crime component have secured 74 convictions, while the serious corruption environment have secured 15 convictions, where the suspects have been sentenced. Serious corruption continues to surface as one of the biggest threats posed by criminals on our beloved country. It facilitates illicit financial flows, which triggered our response to focus on money laundering charges through criminal investigations. Corruption cases are a special breed in that they are committed in secret by consenting parties, which requires a lot of digging to unearth such cases. Although the number of arrests is the lowest as compared to other components, it is in line with the number of cases and the resources assigned to deal with this phenomenon. A number of other corruption cases are also appearing in the figures of serious commercial crime investigation. We have made some strides in that front. Some of the cases that required high-level, meticulous investigation have successfully been completed. Talking about the 50 cases that I said I need to be sampling, the first one is the arrest of the suspects in the Winnie Mandela Museum project. This happened in the Free State between January 2008 and December 2010. The funds that were set aside by the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture for the Brantford Museum project, popularly known as the Winnie Mandela Museum, were allegedly stolen in the hands of the department, as well as Lejwelebuza District Municipality. The service providers were reportedly appointed without following the proper procurement processes. As a result of these irregular activities, the department lost 700,000 rand. Following an intensive investigation by the Hawks in the Free State, Tshwaredi Malagwane, Nontsikelelo Eunice Aaron, Lebogang Obrisiebela, Monyane Matthews Sefanze, Ernst Lodewijk Seliers, as well as Sitiwe Tubani were arrested on the 20th of September 2022. John Duplessis was arrested at the border when he was trying to leave the country through OR Tambo International Airport on the 14th of October 2022. The accused are charged with fraud, theft, and contravention of the Municipal Finance Management Act. The case is coming again on the 7th of December 2022 in Velcom Magistrates Court. The second case is that which happened in the Mpumalanga Public Works officials and the company directors helping themselves to 1.3 million rand. A deputy chief director in the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Sipuroni Munaring, was allegedly colluding with his colleagues as well as the company directors during the COVID-19 to misrepresent by submitting claims to the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure for services which were never rendered. In this regard, the department lost the amount of 1.3 million rand, as I've indicated. The Sipo Monaring and other colleagues have been arrested, and from the 28th of September by the serious corruption investigation based in Mpumalanga, Nelspruit. The case is postponed to the 19th of January 2023 for additional accused. With regard to the convictions, in Bedfordview, on the 1st of August 2020, a fraud docket was registered where the complainant received telephone calls that his company seems to have claimed from the UIF TERS money, but that the individuals are not receiving their money. In essence, it was not the company director that have done this. It was an individual called Lindelane Pert Bumede, who defrauded 4 companies that he used to be a bookkeeper. In this regard, he claimed 11,183,000 that he received from the UIF TERS, which deposited in his business account. A warrant of arrest was issued, and on the 25th of August, the members of Germiston DPCI descended down to Durban and arrested him. The matter was placed on the court roll, where he faced 32 counts of fraud and other charges, as I have indicated. On the 18th of August this year, he was sentenced to 20 years direct imprisonment on the 32 counts, and he was declared unfit to possess a firearm. This case forms part of the cases that are coordinated in the Fusion Center of the ACTT, Anti-Corruption Task Team, that was established in 2020 after the problem of the COVID-19. The following provides an overview of COVID-19 corruption-related incidents, as I will be indicating that they are coordinated in the Fusion Center, where the DPCI is part. On the 16th of November 2022, we were sitting at 246 cases. relating to the COVID-19. 117 accused persons were already secured before the courts. 38 court cases were already finalized, of which 36 were finalized with their convictions. In 2 cases, the accused were acquitted. That represents 95% conviction rate when it comes to the matters relating to COVID-19. May I also indicate that the ACTT has already seized and attached assets worth more than 1.8 billion rands that is associated to COVID-19 relief funds. These matters include the confiscation and the freezing of accounts by the FIC, Financial Intelligence Center, which froze 25 accounts involving 274 million. The AFU on 38 recoveries involving 320 million. The SIU on 26 recoveries, 465 million. And the SARS on 22 recoveries, 740 million. That is the amount that make that 1.8 billion. These are coordinated in the Fusion Center as coordinated by the Anti-Corruption Task Team. As you shall have observed, arrests are continuing. As an example, yesterday 16 suspects who defrauded 1.4 million rands made their first appearance at Mahigani Magistrate Court. And arrest is continuing even today. 2 more has been added to that number. The 4th case happened in Moredile municipality. In this regard, you will recognize that we have said that we are also going to be focusing on crime affecting the municipalities. In the Northwest, on the 15th of July 2022, the former Moredile local municipality manager, Telezi Nkumise, made the first appearance before Moredile Regional Court on 4 counts of contravention of the Municipal Finance Management Act. This happened during the appointment of a certain company, Flame IT Strategy, for the services in 2016. The service provider was allegedly paid 200 million rands. The next court appearance is the 12th of December 2022 for the outcome of the representation that the defense has made. In case number 5, a senior Maluti Apofunu municipality official has been charged on fraud charges. On the 31st July to the 2nd of July this year, Futi Patrick Mutamaha, the municipal manager of Maluti Apofunu local municipality, and his co-accused, who are directors of a security company, Tabiso Sekosana, Rimagajo Christine Sekosana, were arrested on allegation of fraud and corruption, uttering and forgery, as well as a contravention of the Municipal Finance Management Act. This is alleged that in 2020, the suspect authorized a service provider for security services without a tender being advertised. An estimated amount of 58 million was paid to the security company, which is irregular, for a period of 2 years. The case itself is remanded until the 18th of January 2023, and the accused persons are out on bail ranging from 150,000 to 500,000 rands. In case number 6, the Northwest, it is alleged that in 2014, the Northwest government embarked on a process to reintroduce commercial aircraft to the province in the two airports of Mahikeng and Pilanesberg. An amount of 400 million rands was involved in this regard. The HOD signed on behalf of the Department of Transport the deal that was riddled with procurement irregularities. These irregularities prejudiced the municipality in an amount of 253 million. In this regard, arrest has been effected on 4 accused persons between the 29th and the 30th of September. These individuals include Debo van Veek, the former HOD of the Department of Transport, Notando Dube, Sipo Levi Piri, and Taban Muthokoleng. They were arrested in Gauteng and the Northwest Province. They faced 34 counts of fraud, corruption, money laundering, and contravention of the Public Finance Management Act in Mahikeng Magistrates Court. This is one of the cases that was recommended in the State Capture Commission. The accused persons will be appearing again on the 1st of December this year. In case number 7, relate to the municipality of Bujanala district. Here, during December 2017, the acting municipal manager, Mr. Patrick Sekwane, appointed a company called Big Time Strategy to audit information technology services. He was advised not to do it because it was not necessary, as such work was already conducted. But the municipal manager insisted on appointing that company. It is the company that was contracted to Moses Kotane municipality, where he previously served as a municipal manager. So these irregularities resulted in the arrest of the individuals, as the Auditor General have found that the company was irregularly appointed by the municipality, and having the case of fraud reported on the 17th of September this year, the accused was arrested and appeared in Rustenburg Magistrates Court on the 19th. So the case itself is postponed to the 30th of November this year. In the 8th case, again in the Rustenburg municipality in the Northwest, it is alleged that in August 2017, the Rustenburg municipality unlawfully adopted a contract by the Free State Department of Transport, which is supposed to be done in terms of Regulation 32 of the Municipal Supply Chain Management Regulation. The Department of Transport had appointed a service provider to render services related to hiring of construction plant and machinery. It is alleged that when the Rustenburg municipality adopted the contract, the prescripts of Regulation 32 were not followed. As a result of this, 11 million was lost. On the 2nd of August 2022, Kobile Sitole was served with a court summons to appear before the Rustenburg Regional Court, which was set on the 15th of August, to face the charges of contravention of the Municipal Finance Management Act relating to the appointment of such service provider. The case is postponed to the 14th of December for further particulars to be provided to the defense. Case number 9 relates to the director of a company in the Eastern Cape. On the 19th of July this year, Christopher Lukope, a company director, and his daughter, Naledi Lukope, also a sole director in a company, were arrested and appeared on the 20th of July on the charges of fraud, forgery, and uttering, which took place in May 2010, when the Department of Education in the Eastern Cape awarded a tender of 4.3 million rand to a company placed in Port Shepstone, KwaZulu-Natal. The company directors purported to be residents in the Eastern Cape by producing falsified lease agreement. The matter is remanded to the 20th of January 2023 for a trial in Zwelitsha Magistrate Court in the Eastern Cape. The 10th case relates to the municipal manager in Zwelitsha, municipal manager in Mpumalanga. The municipal manager, Mr. Zwelitsha Teron Shongwe, who is the former municipal manager of, and Mabato Maseko, who is the former Musuguligwa municipality employee, were arrested for fraud, theft and contravention of the Municipal Finance Management Act, because they were selling municipal land to a private person for 53 million rands. The fourth suspect, Cynthia Makanya, was arrested on the 7th of September this year. The case is postponed to the 5th of December this year. The 11th case is in KwaZulu-Natal, where the Department of Agriculture is involved. It is alleged that in 2016, Sipiwe Mukize, the former HOD of this Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, and Stembiso Mdlala, the acting judge, misrepresented to a business person to pay 1 million into a vehicle dealership. Subsequently, the service provider allegedly paid 300,000 into the same vehicle dealership, and later the suspect purchased a vehicle worth 1.3 million in that dealership. This vehicle was later handed over to the head of the department. A case of fraud and corruption and money laundering was reported to the police, and the Hawks took over the investigation, which on the 20th of September 2022, members of the Durban Serious Corruption Investigation arrested the two on those charges. The case is postponed to the 14th of December. The National Clean Audit Task Team under the Serious Commercial Crime also conducted some investigation in several cases. In case number 12, the Director General from the Premier Office in KwaZulu-Natal and accomplice were arrested. On the 29th of August 2022, following an intensive investigation, an operation by the National Clean Audit Task Team of the Serious Commercial Crime Investigation led to the arrest of the Director General in the Office of the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Dr. Nonhlanhla Mukize, Simpiwe Mabaso, an official, Stembiso Ralph Mhlanga, an official, Mthokozisi Pius Duze, the CEO, and Babongile Mnyandu, as the CFO, as well as Tabiso Kumalo. The suspects are alleged to have committed the crimes of contravention of the Public Finance Management Act, as well as defeating the ends of justice relating to the Motlatuze Water Board in KwaZulu-Natal. This happened in 2018. It resulted in the actual loss of 37 million rand. The case is postponed to the 6th of December this year. Again, in Newcastle Municipality, KwaZulu-Natal, on the 30th of August 2016, case number 13, Bonakude Consulting was appointed as a service provider by Newcastle Municipality in terms of Regulation 32 of the Supply Chain Management Regulation. The contract lapsed on the 31st of December 2017. In January 2018, the municipal manager, Bekani Mswani, extended the contract of Bonakute to continue to render services to the municipality involving 7.8 million rand. The accused, Velenko Simchali, the director of Bonakute Consulting Company, as well as Bekisisa Eric Klongwe, the former chief financial officer of Newcastle Municipality, and Bekani Mswani, the former municipal manager, were arrested and appeared before the court on the 29th of September 2022. The case is remanded to the 27th of January 2023. In case number 14, the municipal manager and accomplice were arrested. It is alleged that a competitive bidding process was not followed by the Litlabeni municipality, as a bid document of zero tolerance was not responsive, and the price was altered by the BEC, which prejudiced the municipal in an amount of 17.7 million rand. The accused, Molatseli, who is the municipal manager, Munzizi, the service provider, as well as the other individual, were arrested and appeared before court on the 10th of August 2022. The other individual will be companies that will be charged with the directors. The case was remanded to the 18th to the 22nd of September 2023. In case number 15, a couple are in court in relation to the SASSA fraud as well as the money laundering. On the 27th of September 2022, Balesa Aviwe, the former branch manager of Elliot Post Office, and a spouse, Masonwabe Madlingosi, a former police officer, Busisiwe Keleba, a former post office teller, and her husband, Luyanda Brighton, were arrested by the East London Serious Corruption Investigation on allegations of fraud and money laundering of SASSA funds to the value of 10.2 million. They made their first court appearance in Tata Specialized Commercial Crime Court and released on 3,000 rand bail each. The matter is remanded to the 14th of January 2023 for copies of the case docket to be given to the defense. With regard to some convictions, in case number 16, the dating scammer was sentenced for defrauding his girlfriend. In September 2019, the accused, Emmanuel Ramutuma, requested his girlfriend to enter into a joint business venture in order to strengthen their relationship. Ultimately, all the activities resulted in her losing 470,000 rands. After the time, when the TLB that was supposed to be purchased was not available, a fraud case was reported. On the 11th of August 2022, Ramutuma appeared before the Bulugwane Specialized Commercial Crimes Court and he was sentenced to 5 years direct imprisonment. In case number 17, the accused was sentenced for money laundering and water installation tender. This happened in the Eastern Cape. On March 2022, Checks Plant Hire paid an amount of 1 million to the subcontractors he appointed to work for him in the water installation tender. He was awarded for that by our Tambo municipality. The trio, that is Senzo Mandiswa, Mawetu, Makubalo, and Shebe were arrested in Germiston and Johannesburg for hacking and pocketing the accounts of the subcontractor. The two, Mandiswa and Makubalo, were sentenced to 12 on the 12th of September to 15 years imprisonment. Shebe will go on trial on the 8th and 9th of December as the trials were separated. In case number 18, on the 7th of August 2022 in Gauteng, Kamal Maharaj was arrested by the Johannesburg Serious Commercial Crime Investigation Team of the Hawks in Pongola for the theft and fraud estimated at 20 million rands. The accused was employed by Kyalami-based TNA Packaging Systems as a regional manager in 2013. As a sole signatory of the bank accounts, he managed to siphon 20 million through transfers into his own account for self-enrichment. The matter is remanded to the 13th of January 2023 for the disclosure of the case docket. In case number 19, in Gauteng again, on the 10th of August 2022, Majanyana Gladys Matitwani and Lucas Lifutseki of Southern Place Group appeared before the Palm Ridge Specialized Commercial Crimes Court on charges of theft and fraud. This follows the initial arrest of Harry Buthelezi in July this year on this very same matter. Buthelezi is the director of Energy Fabrication Company. The Hawks investigation revealed that the directors acting in concert allegedly approached the Industrial Development Corporation for assistance with a loan amounting to 185 million rands. The loan was meant to fund a new company which would specialize in heavy steel construction. The agreement between the parties and the IDC was approved on the basis that the amount was to be divided into in three aspects: the loan, working capital, and wiping of the debt. In short, the matter was reported to the Hawks Serious Commercial Crime Investigation Team in May 2021, which culminated in the arrest of the trio. The accused will appear again on the 2nd of February 2023. In case number 20 in the Northern Cape, we reflect on the frauds where the Hawks Serious Corruption Investigation of Kimberley served summons to the former bookkeeper of a company, R.K. Henderson and Associate, that is Lazarus William Mears, to appear in court for alleged corruption. The allegations are that in 2009, the accused did unlawfully and with the intention to defraud misrepresented to the Commissioner of the South African Revenue Services in the income tax return submitted in 2009 period, that there was nil income, which was not correct. As a result, he received certain amounts, and the SARS suffered a prejudice of 856,000 rands. So the investigation was completed, and SARS suffered that loss. The suspect is expected to appear again before the Kimberley Regional Court on the 29th, which is today. In case number 21, a mastermind arrested in connection with theft of over 36 million rands belonging to the bank account of a deceased client. This happened in Limpopo on the 25th of April 2022. Tabiso Matenda who was employed by the FNB based in Makado, allegedly opened a profile of a deceased foreign business client who just died on the 24th April without authorization and stole 36.9 million from the deceased bank account. The stolen funds were transferred into new different bank accounts that were created for that purpose. On the 17th of July 2022, a couple, Noma Pelelo Seti and Rodi Marshall Nyeza, were arrested in Johannesburg after they fought over the 6 million that they had allegedly been receiving from one of the suspects. On the 13th of September this year, Moses Bend January, who is believed to be one of the mastermind in connection with the theft of the 36 million belonging to the client, was also arrested by the Hawk Serious Commercial Crime in Bulugwane. The four accused now faces charges of fraud, money laundering in Makado Magistrates Court. They are out on 20,000 rand bail each, and the case is postponed to the 23rd of January 2023. In case number 22, the municipal employees and the city manager arrested for toilet tender fraud. This happened in the Eastern Cape, and that during April 2020, a complaint was lodged with the Hawks with regard to irregular awarding of erection of flushing toilets tender in Gqeberha. Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan Municipality employees were implicated during the investigation by the East London-based Serious Commercial Crime Investigation. This led to the arrest of the former acting executive director of human settlement in the municipality, that's Mvuleni Mapu, the city manager, Notolo Wazi, the business person, Kolani Masela, Nwabisa Masela, Luyola Ngakula, and the former councillor, Victor Manyati, as well as Trevor Lowe and Neville Higgins. This happened on the 29th of September 2022. They are all released on 5,000 bail each, and the matter is remanded to the 5th of December in Gqeberha Specialized Commercial Crime Court. Case number 23 speaks to the conviction of an accused who has also been sentenced for corruption and money laundering. This happened in KwaZulu-Natal during the period of March 2013 and June 2014. Sivaligam Sastry was a service provider of MS Cargo Forwarding and Clearing Company. He colluded with the MS Cargo employee and presented false invoices. As a result, the company suffered a loss of 4.8 million rands. A case of fraud, corruption and money laundering was reported to Durban Central Police Station, which was referred to the Hawks members in Durban Serious Corruption Investigation. Sastry was arrested in May 2021, and he appeared several times in the Specialized Commercial Crime Court until he was convicted in July this year. On the 14th of October this year, the court sentenced him to 10 years imprisonment for each count of fraud, corruption, and money laundering. The total of 30 years imprisonment sentence will run concurrently, and 5 years of each of these sentences is suspended for 5 years. Therefore, he will serve 5 years direct imprisonment. In case number 24, the bookkeeper sentenced for misappropriation of funds. This happened in the Eastern Cape. Between 2017 and 2020, Linda N. Labaskagni, who was employed as a bookkeeper at BVSA Tax Consultancy Firm and DP Wealth Tax Consultancy, respectively, misappropriated funds to the value of more than 2.4 million rands. In July, on the 20th of July 2021, the Gebergha's Serious Commercial Crime Investigation of the DPCI arrested her. She was granted 10,000 rand bail, but failed to adhere to the bail conditions, and then she was rearrested on the 19th of August 2022. On the 6th of September, the Specialized Commercial Crime Court handed over a 15 years direct imprisonment sentence for 19 counts of fraud to Labaskachny, with no option of a fine. Her other fraud case is still on the court roll, and it is remanded to today. In case number 25, foreign national sentenced to 25 years imprisonment in the Free State, it is alleged that in 2019, Akak Leandri Otto approached the victim and informed him that he is a businessman dealing with the distribution of chemicals. The victim then decided to invest in this business so that he can become a distributor in the Bloemfontein area. The victim then deposited 432,000 rand on the 16th of September 2019 and 98,000 rand in October 2019 into different accounts as provided by the accused. After the victim deposited the money, a court failed to deliver the chemicals. And on the 6th of December 2019, a court made contact with the victim requesting further 45,000 rand. The victim then decided to inform the police, and the case was reported, handled by the Serious Commercial Crime in the province. On the 20th of July 2022, a court appeared before the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court, where he was convicted and sentenced to 25 years direct imprisonment for fraud. In regard to contravention of the tax law, the DPCI is handling 937 investigations nationally as on the 31st of August 2022. It should be noted that 121 arrests were effected already, and 40 accused persons were sentenced. Some of the examples follows. In case number 26, accused sentenced for fraud and contravention of the tax administration. On the 28th of September 2022, in Pietermaritzburg Magistrates Court, is an accused person, Mujabulelwa Ngandi, was convicted for fraud as well as a contravention of the Tax Administration Act. He was awarded a tender to supply personal protective equipment, PPEs, to the Department of Social Development. This happened in 2020 April, where he submitted an invoice to the value of 3.2 million to the department. He then failed to declare value-added tax to the South African Revenue Service. A case of fraud was reported at Pietermaritzburg Police Station, and the case docket allocated to the Hawks for further investigation. He was then charged accordingly and appeared in court several times until he was convicted and sentenced. Mugadi was sentenced to pay 50,000 rand fine or 3 years imprisonment. He was further sentenced to 3 years imprisonment, wholly suspended, and the company was also fined 100,000 rand, which was wholly suspended for 5 years on condition that the accused not found again guilty of the same offense. He was ordered to pay 723,000 rand to the Revenue Service. In case number 27, bogus investment scammer jailed for 10 years in the Free State. On the 23rd of May 2018 and 29th of May 2018, the complainant was lured into transferring 166,000 rand and 1 million respectively in Johandri Fisachi's personal account that was intended for investment. He was promised high interest as well as the money he deposited. He lost the money that he deposited and reported to the police. The Hawks Serious Commercial Crime Investigation of Bloemfontein took the investigation. On the 23rd of July 2019, Fisachi was served with a summons to appear in court, and he made several appearances in court. On the 28th of July 2022, Fisachi was convicted and sentenced by the Bloemfontein Magistrate Court to 6 months up to 10 years imprisonment for these several counts of money laundering, contravention of the Prevention of Organized Crime, which will run concurrently. So as a result, the jail term come to 10 years imprisonment. In the serious organized crime space, starting with the crimes against the state, case number 28, here in Pretoria, in November 2019, a team of the Hawks Crimes Against the State arrested Harry Johannesburg Knudsen in Mpumalanga, who is a leader of a national Christian resistance movement, also known as Crusaders, for contravention of the Protection of Constitutional Democracy Against Terrorism and Related Matters Act, POCDATARA, incitement to carry out terrorist attacks in South Africa, recruiting people to carry out terrorist attacks, and unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition. The accused prepared and planned to carry out terrorist attacks on government by overthrowing the democratically elected government, targeting the national key points, attacking the military and the police installation, as well as an informal settlement occupied by African people. After several appearances, he was found guilty on the 6th of June 2022 on several counts. On the 27th of September this year, he was sentenced to 2 life imprisonment terms and additional 15 years imprisonment for planning terrorist attacks in South Africa, and 3 years imprisonment for each count of unlawful possession of firearm as well as unlawful possession of ammunition. This happened in Mpumalanga High Court, which was sitting in Middleburg. In the protected economic resources, 2 Breda Dorp Customers Network Center employees, a municipality official and another suspect were arrested in the Western Cape. On the 27th of July 2022, 4 suspects, Percival Olkers, K.N. Olkers, Inge Fortuin, and Carlo Klute, were arrested during a multidisciplinary operation which consists of the Hawks Serious Organized Crime Investigation Team in Belleville, together with Crime Intelligence Wildlands Cluster, as well as the detectives environment supported by ESCOM. They were arrested on a warrant of arrest for allegedly stealing copper cables worth about 306,000 rand in the Breda Dorp area. The accused were granted bail and the case is remanded to today in the regional court. In case number 30, the accused was sentenced to 15 years direct imprisonment for theft of copper cable On the 7th of September 2017, Personal Mogovera, Taimo Sitole, and Solomon Sitole appeared before the Kroonstad Magistrates Court, where they were convicted and sentenced for the theft of 100,000 worth of copper cables and illegal immigration. The conviction emanate from the incident that took place on the 31st of December 2021, where the local police in Kroonstad, while patrolling the N1, found the suspicious bakkie, and on search they found the stolen items. The court sentenced the accused to 15 years direct imprisonment for theft and 3 months imprisonment for illegal immigration. Both these sentences will run concurrently. In case number 31, accused sentenced for stealing fowl, which happened in KwaZulu-Natal. On the 27th of July 2022, the Escort Regional Court convicted and sentenced Jambo Silombo to pay a fine of 100,000 rand or 4 years imprisonment for stealing fowl from the Mimosa Dale area near Escort in November 2020. Silomo and his accomplice were caught by a private security company tampering with the translate pipelines. His accomplices fled the scene, and Silombo disconnected the pipe and drove off with the tanker truck. A chase ensued, and he was spotted at a truck stop, where he abandoned the tanker truck. He fled on foot to the nearby bushes. The police was alerted and managed to arrest him. The serious organized crime in KwaZulu-Natal handled the matter. He appeared in the Escort Magistrate Court, where his bail was successfully opposed until he was sentenced. Half of his sentence is suspended for 3 years. In the case number 32, another accused was sentenced for tampering with essential infrastructure. This happened in the Western Cape, where Lubabalo Mpumbani was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment for tampering with essential infrastructure by the Oudtshoorn Magistrate Court on the 31st of August 2022. This comes after his arrest with 4 co-accused, that is Dangisosi, Kutwana, Modladim, Madahane, Mohau Kene, and Elliot Malihe. They were arrested by the Hawks Serious Organized Crime Investigation Team based in George on the 13th of June 2017, while on the R62 highway. They were busy cutting and transporting telecom copper cables. They were sentenced in October to 7 years imprisonment each. Coming to the narcotics, case number 33, in the Western Cape, the Hawks South African Narcotics Enforcement Bureau, based in Belleville, together with crime intelligence, narcotics counter operations, together with the public order policing, have on the 10th of September confiscated 33,000 Mendrex tables with an estimated street value of 1.3 million rand, and subsequently arrested Nkosi Kolile Sien Kazozo. They arrested him near Somerset West. A Mercedes-Benz used to transport these drugs was also seized to be dealt with as an instrumentality used in the commission of crime, which ought to be forfeited to the state. The suspect made his first court appearance on a charge of dealing in drugs on the 12th of September 2022 at Strand Magistrate Court, and the case is postponed to today. In case number 34, 400 million rand worth of drugs seized in the Western Cape. On the 4th of August 2022, the DPCI, together with Crime Intelligence in the Western Cape and the Western Cape Traffic Department, arrested three men, Ibrahim Kara, Mishak Ngobisi, and Elias Radeb, who were found in possession of large consignment of cocaine worth more than 400 million rand. The suspects were intercepted on the N1 towards Cape Town. The drugs were concealed in false wooden boards stacked in the back of a truck. The matter is remanded to the 15th of December for further investigation. In case number 35, in the Northwest, on the 28th of August 2022, the Hawk Serious Organized Crime in Mahikeng and officials from Swartkopfontein Port of Entry arrested a foreign national, John Lauret de Mosso, who allegedly smuggled cocaine worth 2.2 million through the border. The suspect was arrested after a taxi traveling from Botswana to South Africa was searched, and 3 bags of cocaine were found hidden in a false compartment in those backpacks. He will appear again before the Lehuruji Magistrate Court on the 8th of December 2022 to face charges on contravention of Drugs and Drug Trafficking Act of 1992. In cash in transit robberies, during the period under review, 24 suspects were arrested, including 5 who died in exchange of fire with police that were intending to secure their attendance in court. The 19 accused are all in custody. 6 convictions were secured with a combined sentence of 248 years imprisonment. In case number 36, 11 suspects were arrested on conspiracy to commit CIT. On the 5th of August 2022, members of the Tactical Operations Section of the DPCI at head office acted on information of a large group of heavily armed suspects at a safe house in Hendrina that were preparing to commit a CIT on an armored vehicle which would transport large amount of cash around that area. When the Tactical Operations Section members approached the safe house, they were fired at by the suspect, and a shootout ensued. 11 suspects were arrested and several exhibits were confiscated, which include 5 motor vehicles that were robbed, a Mercedes-Benz GTI Golf, Toyota Etios, Suzuki Swift, Ford Ranger, and 4 automatic rifles, that is 1 AK-47, 1 R4, 2 R5, and 1 Dash Pro, the semi-automatic rifle. There were also 195 rounds of ammunition, explosive and detonators that were seized. The case is postponed to the 1st of December 2022. With regard to convictions on CIT, on the 3rd of February 2020, G4S cash in transit robbery took place in Broncos Place. While fleeing the scene, the suspects were confronted by members of Pretoria Flying Squad, resulting in a shootout, which resulted in 1 member injured. Investigation led to a house in Nkangala where Norman Gutumela and 2 other suspects were arrested. At the house, 3 firearms and cash and a grey Mercedes-Benz were recovered. Thorough, serious organized crime investigation resulted in the conviction and sentencing of Gudumela. He remained in custody until his conviction on the 8th of September 2022. And the Nkangala Magistrates Court sentenced him to 18 years direct imprisonment, and he was further declared unfit to possess a firearm in the future in terms of the Firearms Control Act. In case number 38, again in Mpumalanga, here on the 17th of April 2000, David Thabo Dube was part of a group of suspects who robbed the Coin Security armed vehicle. It was established that he was also involved in another 2017 CIT in Klerksdorp. He was later sentenced to 25 years imprisonment on this Klerksdorp case. And he was charged on another armed robbery, attempted murder, which he pleaded guilty. And on the 10th of August 2022, the Nelspruit Regional Court convicted and sentenced him to 25 years imprisonment, which is made of 15 years for armed robbery and 10 years for attempted murder. In case number 39, the accused was sentenced to 170 years for attempted murder, robbery and possession of a firearm and ammunition. This happened in the Eastern Cape. On the 2nd of May 2018, 2 Fidelity guards were robbed at Sasol Garage in Linton Garage in Kebeha. 4 suspects, Sonwabo Gugwa, Sulanda Luzia, Notudzelo Majola, Sitembiso, Kono Shainio, were arrested by the serious organized crime in Kebeha. That was happened in the joint operation with the National Priority Violent Crime of the Hawks. They were kept in custody from 2018 until their sentencing. On the 7th of September 2022, the High Court sentenced them on 3 counts of murder, robbery, and the possession of firearm and ammunition. They were given 170 years imprisonment in total. In case number 40 in Rustenburg, Northwest, on the 24th of December 2019, David Phiri was arrested in Rustenburg by the members of crime intelligence after he was found in possession of explosives consisting of shock tubes and blasting cartridges. The matter was subsequently handed over to the Hawks Serious Organized Crime for further probing. The accused was released on bail and made a series of court appearances before he was ultimately convicted. On the 31st of August 2022, the accused was sentenced to 10 years direct imprisonment by the Rustenburg Magistrate Court for possession of explosives. In human trafficking, in our endeavor to address the prevalence of false or self-proclaimed prophets that exploit unsuspecting victims, the Directorate continues to strive to remove the unscrupulous perpetrators. In case number 41, Apostle was sentenced to 6 life imprisonment for rape, trafficking in persons, and compelling a person to witness a sexual act. This happened in the Eastern Cape. During July 2021, a 22-year-old female from Cape Town posted on a Facebook that she was seeking for employment. Thereafter, she received a friend request from a person who called himself Apostle Thumelo Dwili from Thumelo Dwili Ministries, which she accepted. She then received a message on Facebook Messenger referring to a post about seeking employment, and she sent contact details as requested. Through desperation, she forwarded her contact numbers, and the accused person, Julie, lured her and the other 3 women, who all ended up being raped. On the 22nd of August 2021, Apostle Julie was arrested by members of the Bizana SAPS. The case was referred to the East London Serious Organized Crime Investigation. On 29 August, he was convicted in the High Court that was sitting at Bizana on 4 counts of rape, 2 counts of trafficking in persons, and 1 count of compelling a person to witness a sexual act. On the 31st of August, he was sentenced to 6 life imprisonment, and an additional 5 years imprisonment was also imposed. With regard to police killings, the DPCI arrested 20 suspects and secured 2 convictions relating to police killings during this second quarter. In case number 42, suspect arrested for murder of policeman. This happened in the Eastern Cape. On the 23rd of October 2018, Captain Lumkile Wiseman Chibilika, who was attached to VIP protection unit in Bisho, was murdered at New Brighton while sitting in his car. Investigation was conducted by the members of the National Priority Violent Crime within the Serious Organized Crime Investigation. And on the 3rd of December 2018, Apiwe Nzimasi was arrested for this murder. He appeared in court and released on bail, but failed to honor the court appearances condition. He was traced and rearrested on the 6th of July 2022. The matter is now remanded to the 8th of December 2022, and he remains in custody. In case number 43, again in KwaZulu-Natal, on the 29th of April 2022, Sergeant Somani, who was stationed at Municipal police station, was off duty and sitting in the lounge at Municipal home when 2 suspects entered the house and shot her multiple times. The suspect fled on foot and she died at the scene. An intensive investigation by the Hawk Serious Organized Crime led to the arrest of Siyabulela Mbele on the 11th of July 2022. And on the 13th July 2022, Sergeant Somani's sister, Bongeka Somani, who is still in custody, was arrested also for the murder. On the 16th of August 2022, the KwaZulu-Natal High Court sitting at Pietermaritzburg convicted and sentenced Mbele to 22 years imprisonment for killing Sergeant Somani. Bongeka's trial will resume on the 7th to the 18th of February 2023 at the High Court. She is still in custody. With regard to illegal mining, case number 44, talking to the Zamazama, getting them sentences. In Gauteng on the 22nd of June 2021, Superintendent van der Linde of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, EMPD, and his colleagues were searching for illegal miners at a Marathon informal settlement in Primrose, Germiston. They suddenly encountered a group of illegal miners in the bushes who indiscriminately fired shots at the officers. A crossfire ensued, resulting in van der Linde being fatally wounded. Following a preliminary investigation, the DPCI, in assistance, as assisted by the EMPD, apprehended Bekisisa Samora Lamini of Denver Hostel, which is in the vicinity of the crime scene. On the 13th of September 2022, the High Court sentenced the accused person to a total of 128 years imprisonment for the murder of the superintendent. This happened in Gauteng local division of the High Court. In case number 45, the abalone suspects in court, this relates to the endangered species that are continuously being harvested by criminals with the intention of taking them out of the country. On the 16th of August 2022, 4 suspects, Emilio Saal, Keith Saal, Conwald Weinhardt, and Hubert Felix, were arrested by the Hawks Serious Organized Crime Investigation Base in Springbok, working together with the local K9 unit as well as the Department of Environmental Affairs officials. They were found in possession of abalone without a permit. The 4 were observed diving into the sea at Kleinsie village of the west coast of Northern Cape province. During the operation, 4 diving suits, a bag containing units of abalone valued at an estimated amount of 84,000 rand, as well as a vehicle which was used as an instrument to take them to the sea, were confiscated. The case is transferred from Springbok Magistrate Court to Port Nolos and will be heard on the 12th of December 2022. On conviction regarding the very same endangered species, German national sentence for dealing in endangered species. In November 2019, 2 foreign nationals, Daniel Lohe and Marco Drescher, were arrested by the Hawks Serious Organized Crime Investigation Team together with Gauteng Nature Conservation Team at Asklam in the Macau district. The duo were released on bail after numerous appearances. On the 21st of July 2022, the duo were convicted and sentenced in the Appington Regional Court for 4 counts of dealing and the possession of endangered species, that is the reptiles, based on a plea agreement. They each received a wholly suspended sentence of 2 to 5 years imprisonment, or 50,000 rand and 75,000 fine respectively. Lode was further instructed to pay 350,000 rand to the Nature Conservation, whereas Drescher was instructed to pay 100,000 to that institution. They were both declared unfit to possess a firearm. The Hawks investigation positively linked the accused to another case where there was an attempt to illegally export endangered species. They were then charged at Kempton Park for this attempt to take the endangered species through the OR Tambo International Airport. The duo are now appearing, have been handled, their case has been handled by the detective service in Kempton Park. They pleaded guilty on that matter. In case number 47, here in the Western Cape, on the 30th of August 2022, a 27-year-old foreign national, Li Fu Chen, pleaded guilty on charges of illegal possession and transporting of abalone in terms of the Marine Living Resources Act. The total weight of the dried abalone was 202 kilograms with a street value of more than 1.4 million rand. He was further charged in terms of the Immigration Act. He was sentenced to a wholly suspended sentence of 36 months imprisonment with an option of 50,000 rand fine for illegal possession of abalone, 12 months imprisonment with an option of 10,000 rand fine for 2 counts of contravention of the Marine Living Resources Act, and another 12 months imprisonment for contravention of the Immigration Act. In case number 48, relating to serious and violent matters, former policeman sentenced to life imprisonment for murder. This happened in KwaZulu-Natal. On the 7th of November 2018, Mantombi Peel Governor was shot multiple times while she was with her husband, a former police official, Gary Governor. Gary claimed that his wife was shot by 3 unknown suspects. A case of murder was reported at Hibadeen police station. Preliminary investigation revealed that Gary was a suspect and a warrant of arrest was issued. He was arrested and charged for murder. Gary was released on bail. Whilst on bail and charged with the murder, he broke into his wife's house and took her bank cards. He withdrew 200,000 rands in her account. Gary was then rearrested and charged for housebreaking. He was remanded in custody until he was convicted on the 11th of February 2022. On the 18th of July 2022, the KwaZulu-Natal High Court sentenced Gary Govender to life imprisonment for murder of his wife, who was fatally shot. And furthermore, he was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment for housebreaking and theft. In case number 49, in Mpumalanga, on the 4th of July 2011, at about 4 o'clock, Delivir Denzulu, who was a taxi owner, was shot in front of his gate at extension 15, Mbalenhle. The case of murder was registered and assigned to the Hawk Serious Organized Crime Investigation Team in Secunda. Investigation established that Tembisa Zulu, his wife, hired 2 hitmen, Seyaza David Mufugeni and Mojalefa Christopher Mazuban, who ambushed the husband. On the 2nd of September 2016, the hitmen were arrested. On the 19th of September 2016, the deceased wife was arrested. On the 22nd of September 2022, the accused Mufugeni, Mazobani and Zulu were sentenced by the Mpumalanga High Court sitting at Delmans. Each of the accused was sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder, while Mufugeni received a further 5 years imprisonment for unlawful possession of a firearm and 3 years for unlawful possession of ammunition. These sentences will run concurrently. The 3 were additionally declared unfit to possess firearms. With regard to the asset forfeiture investigation, the making of orders by relevant courts is through the combined efforts of the section Asset Forfeiture Investigation, Priority Crime Specialized Investigation of the DPCI, and the Asset Forfeiture Investigation of the National Prosecuting Authority. Members of the Asset Forfeiture Investigation Section are responsible for tracing and locating property and providing evidential material to the Asset Forfeiture Unit. The assigned asset forfeiture unit advocates will determine the potential for asset forfeiture, and then they'll draft an application to the relevant court for making an order. These matters are heard and adjudicated in civil courts and not always receiving publication as compared to criminal matters. The DPCI, through successful asset forfeiture investigation in collaboration with the AFU, secured 3 restrained orders to the value of 41,888,000, 30 preservation matters to the value of 70.3 million, 8 confiscation orders to the value of 9.2 million, and 20 forfeiture orders to the value of 16.1 million. These are the matters that we work closely with the asset forfeiture unit. These figures are the successes achieved for the quarter that I'm referring to. In the last case of theft and money laundering, it is the second leg. The matter involved the allegation of theft of money from Lesotho Central Bank and money laundering. The money was transferred to 4 South African bank entities which were based in Fixburg. The payments were done with the assistance of internal Lesotho government official by intercepting legitimate vouchers that were authorized for legitimate services provided by other entities. A forfeiture order to the value of 7.4 million was made on the 11th of August 2022, where 2 houses and the cash in the bank were attached. In conclusion, the program director, the DPCI shall continue to execute its duties without fear, favor, or prejudice. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, we are ready now to take questions. We'll start in-house and thereafter we'll move to the online platforms. I see a hand. For purposes of proper identification, will you please state your name and the media house. Okay. The gentleman over there.
Good afternoon, it's Alex from News 24. This is not related necessarily to any of the information given out today, but could you, General, could you please give us an update into the status of your probe into Steinhoff? Can we expect any arrests to be made soon? And then could we get your reaction to the news that German authorities will be moving forward with a court case against Marcus Jooste next year? If we can just get your reaction to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Heidi, I saw your hand. Oh.
Yeah. It's Heidi Jacobs from ENCA. Just have a couple of questions. General, you said the workforce is at 52%. So I want to ask you if this is obvious, but I mean, if you could just elaborate. It's obviously affecting your investigations and the work being done. It ties, and then if you can just say how many posts still need to be filled, like if you can give me the actual figure. And this ties in with the second question. You were before Scopa last week or the week before, I can't remember, and you spoke about the issue around vetting of officials and how that's causing major issues. How far is that process? And do you have budget constraints? Do you need more money? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? Okay. Since it's only 2 questions in the house, I think General can respond to this ones and then we'll go online after this.
Thank you very much for the questions. Alex from the News 24, the update on the Steinhoff, as well as the comment on the move by the German authorities to arraign the individual. The investigation is continuing. As we have indicated, there are still international matters that the mutual legal assistance are working on. So we are waiting for the feedback on the mutual legal assistance request that has been made. Certain investigations have been completed, but as we are working closely with the NPI, they are mulling on that particular matter, and at this stage, a decision has not been taken to move with the completed portion of the investigation, while another portion of investigation is not yet completed. So we are relying on the feedback from the mutual legal assistant. The comments regarding the move by the German authorities, obviously, whether the prosecution starts in South Africa or start in Germany, there shall always be, both sides will have their time to prosecute. There will be obviously extradition processes so that each of the jurisdiction can have their time to prosecute. The question from ENCA with regard to the workforce by the DPCI, indeed we have increased to 52%. This is an improvement from where we were, and the shortage itself obviously will affect the speedy finalization on some of the matters, because if you have got the workload is higher than the individuals, it will slow down some of the investigation. But otherwise, there are several posts that we are filling, which I have indicated now that 290 of these posts, the panels are sitting as we speak to select so that we can add 290. After this, we will obviously be looking for about 1,500 more officials. So the figure is not exact because it changes every month, because there is retirement and resignations. But we are working hard on this. And then with regard to the finance, the budget to fill these posts, we will be engaging the authorities when we exhaust the existing budget. As of now, we still have got the budget on the posts that we are filling. But once we exhaust this one, we will obviously be engaging on additional funds to fill the posts that shall not have been filled. The issue of the vetting that we had to appear before the SCOPA, where we were asked as to the status, it is still a challenge. And because of the fact that the law requires of everybody that is in the DPCI to be vetted, it requires that we have to vet them. As I have indicated, we were sitting with 17 individuals that we intended to be appointing on a senior management level, and we can't appoint without a top secret security clearance certificate. We have obtained 5, so which are ready for this month, which are the ones that I say we will be making appointment soon, so that by the 1st of December they start. We have got other 3 that we are also going to be appointing on the 1st of January. And then the remaining 10, it depends on the availability of the certificates. But crime intelligence has been sensitized. They are working tirelessly to speed up the process so that we can also fill those vacancies. As you'll appreciate, when we fill other posts, others become vacant, which it is a continuous process. But I think that the COVID having relaxed, we will be moving speedier. There will be advertisement of other posts which we will do externally, because we also want to attract those outside the SAPS. This will either happen this weekend or next weekend. So that is the response with regard to the 2 questions. Thanks.
Thank you, General. Vanessa, can you take us through the online questions?
Thank you, Reverend Director. We have one question so far from Paul at Bloomberg. It's related to the Steinhoff fraud matters. He would like to know if the Hogs have received any requests from the German authorities for cooperation. And if they have, are they cooperating, and what form does this cooperation take? Thank you.
Thank you. General?
Generally, there is cooperation with the German authorities, and when they send their request, it will come through the Department of Justice, and should the request require the police, we will be cooperating and assisting. So at this stage, it has not been brought to our attention that a formal request has been submitted, but otherwise on a police to police, we are cooperating. Thank you.
Thank you, General. I believe this will be the last part of our questions. I see a hand. Heidi, can you get a mic? Oh, there's another gentleman.
Thank you. It's Omaramani from KFM. Lieutenant General, is there a complaint mechanism within the Hawks whereby members who are doing these investigations are protected from political interference, giving you an opportunity perhaps to highlight on the independence of the Hawks. Also, how many cases so far are under the Hawks? I remember the first quarter we were sitting at close to 22,500, but how many so far following these successes, and what is the monetary value, combined monetary value of those cases? Thank you.
Thanks. It's Heidi again from the NCA. I just want to ask you if there's any update regarding the Pala matter.
Thank you. Then there was a hand. Alex? Oh, covered. Okay. I take it this is the last 2 questions of the day. I'll hand over to the national head.
Thank you very much. With regard to the complaints mechanism, there exists complaints mechanism within the DPCR. If anyone was to try to interfere with the investigation, they will be able to report to the retired judge, which is specifically appointed in terms of Section 17L, capital letter L of the South African Police Service Act. The provision is also made for the members of the public who feel that their cases are not being handled in a proper way by the members of the DPCI to also use that judge. So there are reporting mechanisms, so there will be no interference. And I must say that since I came in the office, there has never been any interference, and the judge is readily available. We don't have to apply through court to reach the judge. The judge is readily available for that purpose. With regard to the number of cases that we are having on hand, we did not bring together the statistics of that, but the number has not reduced much because as you can see, we are generating new ones, and the rate at which we finalize the existing ones at court is not as fast as the incoming cases, but we still have got more than 22,000 cases. It's just the odd numbers that I do not have the figures. And we also still have got more than 12,000 accused persons that are still serving before the various courts in the country. You shall also have observed in one of the examples of the cases that took place in 2011 and has only been finalized in this quarter. So that is how long some of these cases can take, especially serious ones where people are trying utmost every angle to defend themselves in court. On the status of the Phala matter, I think all what we can report is that, as you know, we are not reporting blow by blow on this investigation, but we can indicate that we have got now 68 statements that have been filed. Sometimes people ask me, and then I think we were around 50 or so. So at this stage, we have got 68 statements. We are continuing with the investigation. We have got professional investigators, senior officers, actually led by a Lieutenant General, looking at this. And the prosecutors are also looking at this so that whatever we are recording is in line with the law. Maybe just to indicate the previous question that was asked regarding Steinhoff matter and the Germans. We have not yet received a formal request. And then in terms of the investigation, we have deposited in that matter more than 366 statements. So there is a lot of work that has been put into that investigation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General. I believe this brings us to the end of the media briefing. And once more, thank you very much, colleagues, for honoring our invite. Thank you.